The Blue Flash is arguably the world's most famous backyard roller coaster. It can be found in Bruceville, Indiana, and was built by a man named John Iver. And even if you're not a coaster enthusiast, I am willing to bet that you have seen this roller coaster before. It is amazing how much this has taken off, how viral it's gone. The ride was built in 2001. It's currently 2019, so it is 18 years old, and it's still running great. I had the wonderful opportunity to meet John Iver and ride his amazing creation, and so I figured I would give a little review based on my experience on the Blue Flash. Before I get into that though, I first want to encourage you to go and watch the documentary short I made on the Blue Flash and John Iver, because that will tell you a lot of information based off of what kind of person John is, how the ride came to be, that whole process. There's a lot of really good stuff in there, so I'm not going to talk about a lot of what was discussed in that video, but again, highly encourage you to watch it. Now, in terms of stats for this, we don't actually know how fast it goes. It's about 20-ish feet high. The loop itself is 9 feet tall. We have no idea how long the track is, but what I can tell you is that this ride pulls 4.6 Gs, and that is at the bottom of the loop. That is insane. We actually found that out while we were there. John had no idea how many forces it pulled, but one of us had the Ride Forces app on their Apple Watch, and so we stuck him on there with it, and according to that, this ride pulls 4.6 positive Gs and half a negative G. That's pretty dang impressive. It's just because that loop is so tight. You really whip through there. It's insane. Probably the craziest part about it is that at the bottom of it, your head is going to be tilted more to the right, and then you immediately slam to the left. So I know I got some whiplash from that moment. I mean, what do you expect? It's a backyard roller coaster. It's amazing that this exists to begin with. I think at one point or another, all of us kind of dream about, oh, what would it be like if we had a roller coaster in our backyard? What would we do? Well, John actually took that step and made a roller coaster in his backyard, and not just any ordinary one. It has a fully functioning chain lift hill, it has a vertical loop, it's full circuit. I mean, I don't know what more you can ask for. It's pretty insane. Now, something I thought was interesting, the Blue Flash has a weight limit of about 160 pounds, and that's actually because of the amount of stress that it's putting on the chain. The weight limit used to be around 200 or so, but they had to bump it down just because the chain was getting sensitive, and they wanted to make sure it could successfully pull you up to the top. In terms of ride vehicle, you're sitting on a seat out of a car, strapped to a little chassis that runs on the rails, and you're strapped in nice and tight with a seat belt. And it was funny, John made sure to tell us to hold on to the bar at all times, because if you stick your hand out, well, that could be very dangerous. You could probably lose something. So you hold on at all times, don't do anything stupid, and yeah, you'll be fine. Something else I'd like to point out, I love the wheel gap on this thing. It's so great. It really just reflects how this is a homemade creation. It's not gonna be perfect. That loop especially is a pretty jarring element. It really is one of those things that after you go through it, you just have this huge smile on your face because you're like, what the heck was that? How is that allowed to exist? Like, I can't believe that actually happened. And because it can be a pretty intense experience, John made sure to build a second one called Blue 2. That's right next to the Blue Flash. Part of it actually goes over that last turn, and that is going to be your kiddie coaster. One of my favorite questions that I asked John involved a moment where part of the lift hill of the Blue 2 goes over that last turn, and so you have a support that gets pretty close to the turn. So I asked him, how did you determine the clearance to make sure that the Blue Flash could go through there without hitting that support from Blue 2? And John just goes, well, I just guessed. And I love that. It's so great. You never see that with amusement parks nowadays. Everything is so precise, well calculated, and John's here just having fun in his backyard, building something for his grandkids. He literally just made up the ride as he went. He realized after the loop that he had to have it go back to the station, so he's like, well, we'll just have it pop up here and then go through a turn. He'll be the first to tell you that he didn't really know what he was doing. And I like to think that if we all built a backyard roller coaster, we probably wouldn't really know what we were doing either. But it would be shocking if we could actually come up with something as profound, something that works as well as the Blue Flash, and something that still holds up today. So for the Blue Flash's final score, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 because you know what? It is the best backyard roller coaster I've ever ridden. So comparing the Blue Flash to every other backyard coaster I've ridden, this is the best. It gets a 10 out of 10. I seriously think it is so cool. John is an awesome guy. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to go out and ride this thing, especially since it's so rare. I mean, this is not at a theme park. This is a man's backyard. I'm really grateful that he was so kind and generous enough to let me come over and experience it and just talk with him a bit, learn about it. I think that's absolutely amazing. So that's going to do it for this special review of the Blue Flash backyard roller coaster. Let me know down in the comments below if you hope to one day be like John and build a backyard roller coaster of your own. And of course, you can stay tuned for a lot more reviews here at Coaster Studios. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and of course go check out that documentary short I was talking about earlier that goes in depth about the ride from John Iver himself. It's a really great watch, so be sure to check that out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.